afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Samantha Russell, and we are so excited to talk with you this afternoon about some of the biggest trends we are seeing in marketing, specifically for financial advisors right now, and really hone in on which ones are worth your time to pay attention to, right? We all can get shiny object syndrome, but what's actually going to work and what should you be paying attention to and actually spending some time on? So we're going to give everybody a minute or so to sign in. And if you're just joining us today, maybe let us know in the comments where you're joining us from. I am actually down in Florida at the Wealth Management Edge conference. So I'm in a hotel room. So a little different background for me. And while everybody's letting us know in the chat where they're joining us from, we can introduce ourselves and see where everybody is. So, we got Minneapolis, Salem, Massachusetts, San Francisco, Dallas. I love to see if anybody's outside the country. We'll see if we got any non-USers.
All over totally all over the country.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Lots. Ohio. I'm an Ohioan from Cleveland. Any other Cleveland fans out there? Awesome. So it's like we got every state. I love it. Oh, Caitlin from Akron. So great. So let's spend some time and we can introduce ourselves. So if I've never had the pleasure of meeting you before, I'm Samantha Russell and I'm the Chief Evangelist here at FMG. And I have been helping advisors for about a decade now, specifically, look through everything in their marketing, what's working, what's not, and help them grow by adopting the strategies and tactics that are going to work best for their business. And I am so lucky because I get to work with our CMO, Susan Theder, every day. Susan, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. And for those who haven't met me, I am the Chief Marketing Officer and have the pleasure of getting to work alongside Sam. And I'll tee up our very special guest and our wonderful advisors who are the reason we get up every day and what motivates us and is really the basis of our passion. And today we have Chevonne Farler, who is joining us, and I'll let you just give a quick intro.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be on the call today. I have been an advisor for 20 plus years, and I obviously use FMG, and I'm looking forward to being on the webinar today and kind of talking through some marketing aspects and see how we can all generate more business, which is what we all want to do. So,
yes, absolutely. So for the format today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the trends, and then we really wanted to get everybody's perspective. Who's already doing this, who wants to do it, or maybe who's tried it and said, no, that's not for me. And then we are going to show you with FMG how you can get it done. So I think it's going to be both insightful and practical, which is my favorite combination. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And ladies, you can tell me once you can see it. Okay.
It is up.
All right. So we already introed that. And I just wanted to pause for a second and mention that if you haven't given FMG a look in a while, really now is the time to do it. You can see all of the amazing awards our team has won over the last 2 years. We really are the marketing suite that works for everyone, whether you're just getting started or you've been in the business a long time. That's the beauty of it. It's customized and it grows with you. So we'll be sharing more about FMG throughout, today's talk, but we each introduced ourselves. So I'm going to go past those already and just jump right in. So the first marketing trend that we are seeing, and we've been seeing actually, is what we call zero-click content. So let's ask in the chat, who knows what this is? If you do, just a quick yes or no, we can see how everybody's feeling. Chevonne, you're shaking your head yes. Did you know what this was?
well, I'm going to take a guess. Isn't that just where they don't click through? They just everything opens up at one time?
So you're on the right track. So the idea of zero-click content is that the old way that we would see people, especially on social media, post content was it would look like this, right? So it's a link to an article, not picking on Barron's here. Everybody did it. And it would say kind of like, this is what we're going to talk about. So here they have a 5-point social media plan for your firm. The new way, the zero-click content way, is without clicking to read an article or listen to a podcast, you get the gist of what the person will teach you if they did click. So
Yes.
the idea is that the algorithms specifically want people to stay on LinkedIn or stay on Facebook, right? And engage there more. They don't want them clicking off. And so they started really prioritizing the posts where the information is given up front. And it also, we all love it because it's a lot easier for me to go and respond to Thomas here because I have something to respond to. And so it's going to
Right.
help you generate more comments. Does that make sense?
It's like a quick summary versus a tease.
Exactly. And it's like the executive summary, because who really, I mean, is clicking to read every article that somebody's sharing? And I think it just goes to another best practice is people want to hear from you. And when you're clicking to an article, A, that's time. B, it's going to be a read, which they don't want to do. And if you're summarizing and also sharing some opinions, that's just improving the perception of you as a thought leader, but also making it really easy for the algorithm to pick you up, but also for people to scan and get the key points.
100%. And so somebody asked the question, do you still include the link? Yes, you still, it's not that you're not including the link. It's that you're giving them a lot of the information, most of the information, the gist of it. So even if they didn't click, they have enough to go off of to understand. So here's some real examples. And these are both from the FMG library. So if you are utilizing FMG, we recognized this trend about 18 months ago and started rewriting the posts in our library to reflect the zero click way. So when you're posting the content that's FMG is providing to you, this is what it looks like, right? So we can see the one here on the right. This is an integration we have with Y charts. We got a nice Y charts chart in the bottom. And then, do you think your tax rate will be higher in the future? And it gives you information about it, right? The one on the left is talking about election years, and we got a great graphic showing the stock market. So hopefully these will give you some ideas of what it looks like. Again, if you're already utilizing FMG, we are using this strategy in the content we're putting out, so you don't have to worry about it. If you're not using FMG, really want to think about, how do I give away more meat in the post itself?
Here's a really good question. Do you know, is it better to include the link and then it sort of auto generates the thumbnail, or to provide a picture and have the link just in the copy?
Oh, that's a great question. It depends on what the image in the thumbnail is. So if it's an image like these images, yes, absolutely, they're beautiful images. But a lot of times the image is kind of grainy, blurry. It's not the best. In those cases, it would be better. So like if you're pulling an article from Barron's and the image they have is not the best image, then I would definitely replace it with something else. So it kind of depends what the image is.
And what I also do is, not only does it depend on what the image is, but it depends on what I'm wanting that big takeaway for the client, what they're going to remember, or the prospect, what they're going to remember from my post.
Yes.
So they're going to remember the image because the image gives my post credibility. And so
100%.
it's got to be something of like, they don't need to necessarily remember all the details of the Y chart, but just that there was a chart there that gave more credibility to what I was saying.
And you were talking a little bit right before we got on about social media and how you've seen it work already for you to get, some new clients. And I think one of the things I just want to pause and have you tell us a little bit about is comments. People don't realize the power of comments. So you can see here, right, with Chris, I purposely didn't cut it off. He got this great comment from somebody because they saw this chart and it was enough information for them to pause and think and reflect. Comments are the currency of social media, right? So the more comments you get on a post, the more the algorithm says, oh, this is good content. We're going to show it to more people. So you want to get as many comments as possible, but you also want to leave comments on other people's posts because it exposes you to a wider network. So Chevonne, can you tell us a little bit about what you were just telling me and Susan about how that worked for you in real time?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I make a very active or conscientious effort to go on, is to make certain that I'm commenting on a variety of different things in the social media world. I'm just going to use Facebook as an example. So I'm a part of a lot of different groups on Facebook, and people will look for everything from, hey, I need a plumber, to, hey, I need a financial advisor,
Yeah.
or to, hey, I've got $6,000 extra. What should I do with it? Now, obviously, stay within your SEC and your compliance rules, all of the disclaimers that we have to say. Okay, so I've said all my disclaimers. But I had an interesting case about a month ago and got a new client from a lady called me because she had seen all the different comments that I'd been making on a variety of different posts about divorce. Divorce is kind of one of my marketing niches. And so she called me because she had a friend going through a divorce. And so she saw the blog that I had answered on one of the other posts. And anyway, so she called me. She said, yes, my friend needs to talk to you. She hung up the phone talking to me, immediately got her phone. Her friend called me, and I got a new client out of the deal. Somebody I would have never met otherwise, and got a new prospect as well, because the original friend. So I got a prospect and a client out of people I would have never met otherwise if it hadn't been through social media, me commenting throughout. And then I was also sharing with Sam and Susan, you want to add credibility to yourself. So there's a group of about 20 of us women who've gotten together, who are all entrepreneurs, who we have agreed we're going to give each other credence. So if somebody sees on a Facebook group that somebody's looking for a financial advisor, my friend is going to post, hey, you need to talk to Chevonne. And then I reply with whatever. Or if somebody's looking for a real estate agent, well, then I plug my friend and then they reply, versus it always being where I'm replying and going, hey, here's what you need to do. You need to talk to a financial advisor. And by the way, I am one. It just kind of sometimes reads funny.
Right.
No, it's brilliant.
And so we're all recognizing there's so much power in the social media place. And so we need to work together in that space. And so absolutely.
Have you also asked them, another way to leverage that group is when you post, or, in your case, when FMG is posting for you, letting them know that you've just posted so that they can go in and engage, because the quicker they engage and the more comments you get, the more people are going to see it too. That's another way to leverage a group like that.
Absolutely. And so that would need to be targeted. I wouldn't want necessarily my real estate people posting about, I don't know, taxes or something.
Not posting, just when you
sharing.
post, just having them go on and say, great post, thanks for sharing this information.
Oh, yes. Commenting. Yes. Yeah. And then if there's something that I have that is specific for their industry, then we ask for each person to share it. And so we're really trying to amplify in the social media place, because that's where people don't think to go to Google to ask a question anymore. They're going to go to Twitter and Facebook or LinkedIn. That's where they're going to post their question. And so I'd rather spend my time and energy getting more of my things seen in those spaces than necessarily a Google search, which, everybody's been doing. So.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's so many great tips there. Hopefully everybody listening in, that makes sense of the strategy, and the idea being, the takeaway there is, yes, the zero click is so important. And also the commenting is just as important, if not more so. Those two things combined are major part of success with specifically social media marketing. Okay. The second trend, AI. We would never be able to have a marketing webinar without talking about AI anymore, right? This is like, I'm sure everybody's sick of it. But people will say, like, should I be doing this? Should I be going to ChatGPT and just having them as if they're a person, ChatGPT write for me? And obviously there's differing opinions about this, but Susan, I'll pause here and let's hear your philosophy, and you could tell us a little bit about how we've thought about it with FMG.
Yeah, this is cool. You can see this animation on this slide. This is an example from FMG's mobile app. So if you go into the mobile app, it pulls up all kinds of articles, and you could just click to share. And when you click to share, it says, write me text if you wanted to. You just click on that box, and it writes you the caption based on Samantha and my and others sort of thought leadership. We're training it constantly on the best practices. And what I think of this, I think of ChatGPT and AI as the first draft. I don't think most people should take it and just say off it goes. Like you can't have like actually dollar sign emoji we shouldn't have in there. But
I think this is honestly, it's a beta version, sorry, a demo from like when we first were launching
Oh,
this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we've changed it up since then, which is also another thing that we're
Yeah, we
constantly
keep
learning.
changing it. Like I
And
think
even
we
this,
started with way
if
too
you look
many
at,
emojis.
right, if you look at this, like how many people want their post to start with, hey, everyone, with an exclamation point, right?
And
Like
paragraphs, like,
probably not. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and
So
I
it's,
want to sing Susan's praises here because I'm going to tell a story. I guess it was 2 or 3 months ago. I was being interviewed for local media, and they wanted written responses, and it was right in the middle of tax time, and I did not have time to write a dissertation. And she goes, "Put it into AI." And so I put it into AI as my first draft. Then I went in and edited it, made it sound like me, took out things that didn't sound right for the client base, kind of, polished it up, and was done in like 10 minutes.
yeah.
And I also got published. So there are ways to use AI to your advantages. And Susan and Samantha suggesting that was a lifesaver.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes. I think it just is, it's an efficiency play to get you a decent first draft that you can also fine tune with another prompt, where it missed. You could say that's too long, add emojis and use bullets, but it is not the final. It is not the final version. It also, the pitfalls I find are it gets sources wrong, it gets stats wrong. So, definitely don't trust it if it's giving you, X% of the country is doing blankety blank. Google that and make sure you find a source and validate it. 9 times out of 10, I find that it's making those things up.
But it's so much easier to red pen something that's been done versus stare at a blank document and come up with it. And I see a lot of people saying, I didn't even know we had a mobile app. So I'm glad I thought ahead, and I thought people might say that. There's the QR code. And if you put your phone over it, it will come up. It is free if you have FMG, you get the mobile app. And so just like you see here, what's so cool is in the app, there's a ton of content that you can post directly to social media. There are emails you can send out. You can see all your scheduled content in one view. So definitely download the mobile app. And then you can also enable push notifications. So when we drop breaking news content, it'll notify you. So
Know any of this?
Oh,
yeah. So exactly, right?
You've learned something by joining. I knew it.
So if you haven't done this already, please check it out. You'll love it. And yes, the AI features in the mobile app right now, and we're working on integrating it into the desktop. So
I'm downloading it right now. That's what I'm looking down on. I'm downloading this right now because I did not know about this.
yes,
Awesome.
Jewel's saying the mobile app is great. Thank you, Jewel. I love it. Okay, well, let's move on to trend number 3, which is short form video. And we have a really fun new feature if you are using FMG to show you what you can do with video in email, which I love. So, but let's just talk about it a little bit. I am sure, let's tell me in the chat, how many of you watch at least 5 short form videos of some sort, an Instagram reel, a TikTok video, a video on Facebook, a YouTube short per day, at least 5, because I bet you it's more than that. But Tyler said guilty.
Yeah, that's before
right?
breakfast.
That's right. That's how we learn nowadays. Everybody's short form videos. So
oh my gosh, yes.
500. Michael said 500. It is, the popularity of short form video is just exploding. And it doesn't honestly matter what platform you're on, how you're using it. That's not really the point so much as thinking about getting it made, and then you can repurpose it in all the different ways, right? So we put in here some places you could use it, and I'll just go through these quickly, but having a quick bio on your website that introduces you, a video is great for that. But the one I wanted to talk about today is email, because we still know that more than any other medium, once you've captured somebody and you're dripping on them, email is the thing that really moves the needle for people. So, you can engage with people on social. It's great to hear, Chevonne, how you're doing that. People will have events and they'll collect email addresses, but then afterwards, you need to follow up. So we just built this new amazing feature. If you have short videos or videos you want to share in an email, and it's in this widget, and I'm going to actually go into the app and show you how it works. So give me 1 second.
And also I will plug, because I'm guessing there's also like the, help me and how to create all the short videos. We are doing, I think the webinar is in July. So it's 2 months away, I think, but we're doing a webinar on video.
Okay, well, I definitely want it because I have been wanting to do this. So I'm so super excited about it. My FMG rep, I've always called them the fancy videos that you see on TikTok, and I want to do fancy videos. And so I'm so excited that you guys are going to help us do this.
Yay!
Awesome.
So so for right now, if you did have a video that you wanted to send via email, let me just show you. So you go into email, you go to send email. Obviously I didn't style it all up yet, but hi, first name, it'll drop the contact's name in here. You can put whatever content you want, but you're just going to hit this little plus sign. And then over here under widgets, you'll see all those widgets, and we have this video widget. So you're going to add the section in, and then you're going to come right here and you're going to upload your video. It does take just a second to upload here. But as it's uploading, one of my favorite features is, for so many people, you make the video and then well, maybe not everybody knows, but the thumbnail, right? What does somebody see? Chevonne shaking your head. Yes, it's crucially important. You want a good thumbnail. And that is time consuming is then like, okay, do I have to go into Canva and make a whole new thumbnail so that it's clickable when I'm sharing it? And it, can just be time consuming to do that. So our team was genius, and they came up with this little thumbnail slider button so that you don't need to go and actually create a whole nother thumbnail for these emails. It's going to look like it's a video. And you can see here, you can just slide and it will change where in the video it pauses, and that will be your thumbnail. So
I love this.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
Genius. So
okay. I am pumped about this. I am so excited about this. And so on the webinar, so now we're going down a rabbit hole. On this webinar, Susan, will you teach us how to do all that nice text that she has too? Okay. Yep. All right.
We'll study that too.
Okay. Yes, we got all kinds of tips for you. And that's just a simple tool, if you want to look it up now, called Veed, V-E-E-D. It's an editing tool. And it's like, if you can write an email, you can use Veed. It's just like, put your text here. I mean, it's very simple.
Oh, and there's a button that says add captions, and then there's font different. Like you can play with the font, but we'll
show it all in the video.
Yeah.
So look at this though. Like, it's so beautiful. And the best part is, though, what a lot of people don't realize, you don't actually want to upload your video to your email, the real video, and have it be hosted in the email, because it slows down the email. So what our team did is, when your client or your prospect gets this and they go to click play, it's going to open up on a separate page that has your company logo on it. And it looks like it's on your website, but it's just to play the video. So,
and the other videos I've done link directly to my own website already. And I have a page. FMG made me a page that those things dump to already. So they're just not as pretty and fancy. They're just.
And I think that's the thing. If you have an FMG website, Sam, right, it can link right to that. Or if you don't have an FMG website, it creates the landing page for you.
Exactly. So the big thing here is, if you've ever tried to send a video in an email before, like typically you'd create the video, you'd upload it to YouTube or Vimeo, then you get the link and then you put it in the video. We're saving you all those steps. You're just uploading, selecting the thumbnail. You don't have to go create a thumbnail, and then boom, you can send. So this is super easy. So if you're already creating short form video, which is a #1 trend we suggest you adopt, it's so easy to repurpose it. Because the thing about social media is, while social media is great, remember, not everyone is going to see everything you post on social. So if you have a great video, I think somebody just said in the comments, we've been using it to send out our monthly market updates from our chief investment officer. Great idea, right? You can post that to social, but not everyone's going to see it. Being able to do it this way in email, you're guaranteed to show up in people's inboxes. So it's a great way to repurpose the videos that you have.
And I see a good question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to put an asterisk by it. But because it's in the email and because our email routes through compliance, this saves the step of having to submit the video first before you send it out, because this email routes through compliance before it goes out and they are reviewing it. Do you know, Sam? That's right.
Yep, that's exactly right. We got you covered. Okay. So let me go back to the slideshow. So if you have more questions about email, let us know. But the main thing is short form video exploding. We can't wait to teach you more about how to use it. And we can't wait to keep building more features to make it easier for you to integrate it into how you're managing your marketing in FMG. But this video one is awesome. Oh, there's just another example of me. Okay. So let's move on to the next trend, which is COI marketing. Chevonne, before we get into it, is this something you're already doing at all?
I do have a COI group already pre-made in my FMG contacts groups. If people aren't using the FMG groups, that it is wonderful because I go in and I select which emails or videos or whatever I'm going to send, who I'm sending things to. And I'm part of the Do It For Me group. And so DIFM has marketing that's targeted specifically this for COI. So I'm able to go in there and go, okay, this is for COIs for the CPAs or divorce attorneys or whichever, and select it. So I'm not sending just generic emails to everybody. Everything in theory is targeted based off of who they are and what information I'm trying to relay to them.
Right. So I put this up here because this was Susan's idea and it was such a brilliant one, but she came up with the idea that we should have an email campaign that advisors could send to all these different COIs so that you can reach out to them proactively and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. You know, make that warm intro. Do you want to say a little bit more about the idea behind it, Susan?
Yes, I was answering a question on the premium subscription. I'll just answer. So Do It For Me is our top package. So it is an upsell from premium. And you asked me what my thought, like how we came up with the COI campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when we're for Do It For Me and then, our overall content calendars, we're creating a ton of content. And as you think about best practices in marketing, having segments so that you're emailing specific content that's designed for that person is going to improve your performance. And we realize that, most of you are growing through referrals, you're getting customer referrals, but we know that COI referrals are a fantastic source of business. And just like your prospects, you need to just drip on them to build that relationship. I mean, they are, they're in demand. And I'm sure many of you have knocked on doors and maybe it hasn't worked, but dripping on them and showing that you have just, no ulterior motive. You're just sharing valuable content that their clients might be interested in with no ask other than, let me know if you ever want to grab coffee. That will break down that barrier. And also they'll see you on social, most likely. Like I would send LinkedIn connections to them. It really makes a difference. So we wanted to go even deeper in the COI and break it into the specific types of COIs you might want so that the messaging is even more refined.
And so one of the things that I also put in here is, I'll come right back to that. I left this blank, but one of the things that's another great way if like you're not getting a ton of people responding back to you, even with an email drip series like that, invite that person to come join you on a webinar. Say, I'm going to host this webinar. It's going to be on estate planning. Hey, I'd love for you to come and share these 5 things. So I left it blank with the idea being it could be any, subject matter expert or COI, but asking them to join you for a webinar is such a great way because in their mind, they're like, oh, I'm going to be exposed to a whole new audience. This is going to help my brand, but you're going to form a relationship with them. And that is a great way to really kick it off and get it going. But you can even use those emails that we have in there as such a nice, warm lead and intro. And then I was just going to say, if you did have them join you, when you then share it on social media and things like that, tagging them is really important and vice versa, so that you're both getting exposed to each other's audiences.
Yeah.
Chevonne, is this kind of what you're doing?
About tagging other people?
Or just
yes.
with COIs in general?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
in Do It For Me, what Chevonne's able to do is, in addition to that series of center of influence, those are really door openers by all the different types of COIs. But every month for our Do It For Me customers, we write 2 blogs, and then we version those blogs into emails, and we do them for clients, prospects, and center of influence. So every month there are 2 emails that are designed specifically for centers of influence that our advisors in Do It For Me can drip on those centers of influence. So just
And that
timely.
has been a huge time saver for me, because the items are already kind of written. I just go in, I look at them, I make certain again that they sound like me, it's conveying the message that I want. Look at all that great content. And I will say too, your book of business the best. There are things that for whatever reason, I may not, I don't know, I'm trying to look at something. I don't know. There may be something I'm not going to use. I'm using all those things, so I can't find one that I'm not going to use. But I don't think I used in April. I didn't use the shredding day because it was too close to some tax things. And so I always look at the calendar that DIFM puts out and go and figure out what works best for my clients and pick and choose. You can use all the stuff, or you can do things and customize it.
I just gotta pull this up so people know what you're talking about. This, you get a calendar that looks like this every month, everybody. So that's what she's referring to.
Absolutely. And so there may be something, I don't know, that we may, I can't think of anything off the top of my head because that calendar looks great. But there may be something, let's say it's Christmas time or something. I don't know.
We also have all the optional social posts, which, you're opting into some of them, probably not all of them. Not everyone wanted Cinco de Mayo, but some did.
Exactly. Like there have been some calendars where there may be something on every day, which for my client base, it would be too much. So you can look at and go, okay, what's an email? What's going out via email? What's going out this method for social media? What's a blog? And you can kind of pick and choose what you do when, but you're doing it and DIFM's kind of already written the crux of it. And so all you have to do is just make it yours. Kind of that same AI thing
like
that we
AI.
earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So I know we got a little bit off track, but people were asking about, is this only available for like DIFM for certain emails? One of the great things, if you scan this QR code, we have this great estate planning email drip series that we wrote, and we're giving everybody who's on today it for free as a thank you.
And Chevonne, you saw this? This went out, I think, last month. We got great feedback on this one.
Yes. And in my financial planning, estate planning is one of those things I talk to all of my clients about. So this was perfect for, hey, this year, remember, we're going to be working on all of these things. Like this was great.
Yeah. And it was written in partnership with wealth.com, who they're an estate planning tool. And so we worked with them. We created this drip campaign. So this is an amazing value add. I hope everybody on takes advantage of it. But just an example of the way that you can be, talking about these types of topics and working with COIs, but also, really leaning into these certain subject matters that not maybe every advisor has time to go and write these email campaigns on, but it's really, really important to clients we know. And it's something that they have the appetite for. Okay. So let's talk about the next trend, which is webinars, workshops, and in-person events. And I already saw some questions I think about events. This was a study we did with Wealth Management IQ in 2022, and we found that only 23% of all advisors are doing webinars. And Michael Kitcey's Nitrogen, they all had some research, similar thing. However, we look at the revenue per new client, and webinars are so high up there because the cost to put them on is so low. And yet, the outcome can be so high. So we're really bullish on webinars for 2024 as an amazing tactic. And I think, obviously there's a big return to in-person events, and that's great. But one of the things I love about webinars is so many advisors want to get referrals. But Chevonne, I don't know about you. To me, it's a lot easier to say to someone, instead of, hey, do you know anybody who I should work with? To say, hey, I'm going to be doing this event to teach people about X. It's next week. Here's the link. If you know anybody that would really benefit from it, you can invite up to, I'm letting all my clients invite up to 3 people, right? Like that is so much more impactful and easy to share than just, hey, tell me who you know that I could work with. So Chevonne, is that something you guys are doing any of?
So I have to be honest, I've not tipped my toes into the webinar space.
Yep.
It is on my things I would like to do this year as a
You're
goal.
such a natural. You got to do it.
Yes.
I just I don't know what I don't know what my hang up with it has been. I just haven't done it yet.
Time.
But I do the blogs because FMG and DIFM take care of that for me. But I need to get in the webinar space. I really like what you were saying earlier about partnering with a COI in the webinar space. You definitely got my wheels turning on some potential ideas there. I like the idea of it being teaching about something. So I need to do this. And I'm glad that y'all are holding me accountable to get this done.
Well, and you just said, I'm going to just fast forward here. You said, about we already help you take care of some of the other things. So it's easy to do it. And that's the point Susan just said about time. Well, good news, everybody. And this is not just for Do It For Me, but we have webinar slides, landing pages, event kits for you. So if you want to get started with webinars, we make it really, really easy because creating the slides, making the registration page, making the landing page, setting the invites, that all takes time. But we have an event tab in our dashboard, which I'll pull up here. And it's very, very easy to do it, again, when most of the work's done and you just have to go in and fine tune it. Let me just pull that up.
So I'm gonna say a fear. I can't believe I'm gonna put this out here in public forever on a recorded webinar. But what if, let's say, that tax one that you had, and I haven't read through that yet, and I'm doing that on my own. I don't have my COI, that's a tax accountant, on there with me. What happens if somebody asks me a question and I'm trying to be a subject matter expert and I don't know the answer and I don't want to say I don't know?
Such a good question.
Yeah. I mean, I, as you can see, Sam and I love doing webinars together. It is exponentially easier to do a webinar with somebody else versus being the only person talking. Sam is an absolute expert, but I think she will even say it's so much more difficult to keep a one-way conversation engaging. So I really think, especially if you're just getting started with webinars, to try to find somebody that is a subject matter expert on, that adds to the topic that you're talking about. And you can always say, you know what, that's a great question. I don't know the specific answer, but I'll get back to you.
I was just going to say, I think it's such a sign of a smart person and a trustworthy person when someone will say, the tax code is really big and it's very complicated. And there's so many things that I need to double check before I give my answer. So I love that you're helping me learn something new, because people ask me marketing questions sometimes and I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. And that drives me crazy and I want to know. So I'm going to go look it up. But I don't know, everybody could tell us in the chat. If somebody tells you, I actually don't know the answer to that, let me find out. I feel like I trust them more than not. Right.
Well, I like saying that, but I just didn't know,
how bad. Yeah. I love that you asked the question, because I know other people are thinking, Chevonne, this is why it's so good to have you here, because
totally,
it really is true.
And I think another thing that's, a misperception is that you've got to have this crazy great slide deck. So most of the webinar today has just been us talking, and we've done lots of webinars where we don't even have slides. So we, as FMG does have a bunch of slides and presentations that are all put together and beautiful. But if you found a great COI and you had a topic and they were really conversational, you could have, a half an hour. People also really like half an hour webinars. You don't have to sign up for an hour. You can just have a conversation where you're almost interviewing them. I think we call it like a show flow, but you come up with a list of questions and, you ad hoc and ad lib, but you don't have to burden yourself with a huge slide presentation that goes through compliance and has to get designed.
Yeah. And I just wanted to show you. So in terms of like making the event here, you put the name in, right? Financial scams seniors should know about. You say, this is really important. What are the number one thing or top things people are going to learn? It's always nice to have a picture. You can say it's presented by, and then once you go, you can preview it and it automatically is going to have your branding. We're going to make it look all nice. So you can see, I just added the info in. I didn't have to design anything, but look how much nicer that looks. So it's a nice landing page. And if it's a Zoom webinar, you can add in the link. It makes it really, really easy to design, have the page be designed and match your brand without you needing to do it. And as Susan said, maybe you invite somebody from your local area who's in cybersecurity and they're talking about this, or, gosh, I have an advisor who they do some like really interesting things. Last month, they invited somebody who was one of the people who reviews antiques on Antiques Roadshow. And they did a webinar and they had clients drop things off to the office ahead of time. And then they would like pull them up and review them. It was so fun, right?
What a great idea.
Yes. So I think, think outside of the box and what would
identity theft is like always popular. You will get friends of friends of friends to join, and you can get a local law officer, FBI. There are lots of different places and they're happy to do it.
Yeah. And somebody was asking which type of subscription with FMG has the events, and that's premium marketing, just for those of you listening, if you're looking for it. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. Again, in here, you can, in the event section, you're able to invite people to set up the event, everything. And we have slide decks already made and we're always adding new ones. So hopefully this will make it a lot easier to get started. Okay, the last trend, and we're doing great on time, ladies, I'm very proud of us, is outsourcing. So, I think one of the things we've all seen with the rise of AI is the idea that like AI is making our lives where we're able to outsource so many of these repetitive tasks that we know we have to do over and over and over again, but they need to be done well. And that's sort of a trend we're seeing in a lot of areas. But for whatever reason, there are still so many people, when I ask them, do you know what you're going to post on social media next week? Like marketing's important to them. They want to grow through social media. They want to grow through digital marketing in general. Do you know what email you're going to send? Do you know what social post you're going to do? And they have no idea, right? And so if we don't have a plan, right, we're planning to fail, as the saying goes. So outsourcing is the last trend that I think it applies to every single business if you want to be able to hone in. But specifically, in marketing, I cannot suggest enough to outsource what you can, so it frees up time for you to do those things that drive those personal connections, like you talked about, Chevonne, with having time to log in and leave comments.
That's right. Absolutely. And as I mentioned earlier, I am an FMG client. I do use Diffum. I've been using it for about 1.5 years. And this quarter one of this year, my production, I did in quarter one all of what my production was the year before.
Wow,
and
that's fantastic.
I would say it is because of Diffum, because of the way of all the automations and the marketing and already having things that then it frees up my time that I'm doing 2 things at once. I could be dripping on a prospect that I haven't talked to in a little bit through the automated system, while also meeting with somebody new or doing trades or financial planning. Like I'm in 2 places at once, which is absolutely wonderful. And there's, I love my website. FMG did my website for me. I love all the marketing pieces. I am full on the Diffum bus, because if you're not using it, you are truly missing out on some great opportunities of freeing up your time to be with clients, which is really what we're supposed to be doing anyway. The compliance piece, mine does have to go through compliance. Whenever there's something in my dashboard at FMG, I just send an email to my compliance officer and go, hey, will you go in there and check it? He already knows FMG and the type of work they do, so he looks at it and it gets approved so much faster. I absolutely am on. If anybody offline even wanted to reach out to me and ask questions, I'm happy to answer them. But it has made a huge difference in my book and in my production.
Oh,
Well, I
that's
love
awesome.
what you said about being in two places at once, because that's really
Yeah.
the idea here, right? Is that when you automate certain things and outsource them, and you're not just automating them where, hey,
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
even
not
looking at
set
what
and
you said.
forget, like,
Yeah, it's not set and forget. It's ahead of time plan. So somebody's handing you this. They're saying, this is what we're going to do on your behalf this month. You're able to go through, say, yay, nay, edit this. But then to your point, like now you'll have time to make a video or have time to do the leave 5 comments a day thing. And that was one of the tips here is, so many people will tell me and Susan, I'm not getting any ROI from social
yeah.
media. We'll say, okay, so you're posting but do you ever engage with anyone? Well, no.
Oh,
For every one thing you post, you're supposed to be commenting on at least 5 other people's posts to prime the algorithm, to get more eyeballs on your content. So outsource what you can so that you can do the tasks that only you can do.
That's
yeah.
right.
And
That's right.
and the personalization, on top of the commenting, I also am always reminding our customers to send out connection requests too, because if you don't broaden your audience, the same people are seeing it. And a lot of people, have their friends, family, employees are the ones that are constantly commenting or liking. And so you might be like, great, I got, X engagement and X impressions, but the goal is to broaden that and make sure it's hitting your target audience. And then personalizing content, just like we talked about with AI, it's about finding efficiencies in your life everywhere. I'd love to outsource just about everything in my life, but finding a way to make it from a marketing perspective, getting something that's 80 to 90% done and then personalizing it. That's critical, whether you're using AI, whether you're using FMG's content, you can do this without FMG as well. Outsource what you don't do well or like to do, and then take a little bit of time. So if it was going to take you 4 hours, you can probably in 15 minutes take something and add your own picture to a social post that was written for you, or edit the first paragraph of an email, or change the conclusion of a blog. And right there's no such thing as canned content. Regardless of who's writing it for you, you've personalized it, and that makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And one thing that I'm not sure exactly we've mentioned, but we were talking about some of the emails that go out. One of the things that I really like is it tracks how many people are opening up my emails, which I never really had a way. Maybe the technology existed and I just didn't know, but I never really had a way to do that before FMG. And so every month I'm going on and I'm seeing what my open rate is of my emails, which on average are somewhere between 60 and 70%.
Which is awesome.
It went down a little bit last month. And so, but I was playing with the times a day that I was posting things.
Nice. Look at you.
So you'll find, and I have no idea what I was doing before, but I just know what people say is a national average. That emails like that are, I think my rep said it was like 20% or something like that, is the national average. So if you use the emails and you do the tips and tricks that Samantha and Susan are talking about, you should see your numbers start to rise on engagement with your clients and with the logarithms. And, I'm certain we've all probably bought something via Facebook or, TikTok or something like that. And we didn't buy it just because it popped up on our feed once, right? We kept getting fed the feed that we should get it. Well, you want your advice and you as a financial advisor and you as a subject matter expert to be feeding into other people's feeds in that same unconscious way to make it so that people are looking at you that way. Oh, she pulled up
I was trying to find it.
link.
This is my dummy demo account. So the 0% everything pretty much. But this is where you can come in and you can see how many people, what was your open rate? What was your click-through rate? Did anybody unsubscribe from your list? Did any of the emails bounce, were a bad email? And it is a really good best practice to look through this and see, what are people liking? And this is where having those groups is so important, because then you're not mass emailing everybody about a particular piece of content that maybe only half of your list should be reading.
Yep, for sure.
Okay. So those are the biggest trends. We got through all of them in 50 minutes, ladies. Great job. Chevonne, we can't thank you enough for joining us today. Susan, did you see any questions that people had either about FMG or about the trends that we did not answer yet?
I think we're good. So I think let's just summarize because we've definitely wandered and had lots of good tips and, digressions. So maybe just summarize the key trends so everybody kind of walks away with those top of mind.
Oh, okay. You're gonna make me go back through the slides so I don't miss any.
Well, one of them was outsourcing. Let's see if we remember them.
Yeah.
So we had the no click through. I don't remember the order. So no click through. What was, I don't remember what number 2 was. AI.
Video. Sarah remembered video.
Videos.
Yeah.
Videos.
Webinars.
Webinars.
COIs.
What was the 5th one?
COI marketing.
COI marketing and then
outsourcing.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
So everybody will get the deck. And so in case you didn't have time to grab the QR code that had the estate planning drip email, it's in there too. And then this is the QR code if you want to talk with our team, whether you want to upgrade your package to move into the Do It For Me program that Chevonne's on, or if you just want to learn more about FMG in general. We are happy to talk with anyone, answer any questions that you have. But thank you all so much for joining today. And hopefully you learned at least a thing or two that will help you in the next year.
And thank you so much, Chevonne, for taking time out of your busy day to join us.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.